The Swallow Forest was famous for the songs of the birds. It was named after, however, on these nights, the songs fell silent, and the forest was filled with sadness. Young boy Leo stood at the entrance of the forest, determination and worry in his eyes, to search for his lost brother Alex. The disappearance of his brother had plunged their family into deep sorrow. Alex had ventured into this forest a few days ago and hadn't returned. Leo had made a promise to himself. He would not leave this forest until he found Alex. As he began to take his first steps, he felt fear and anxiety in his mind. He walked deeper into the forest. Losing himself among the trees, he moved slowly, as if he might have to retrace each step to avoid getting lost. As the night advanced, the silence of the forest became even more suffocating. Only the rustling of the wind and the eerie hoot of an owl in the distance could be heard. Leo's heart was racing, but his desire to find his brother suppressed his fear. As he ventured deeper, Leo suddenly heard footsteps. His eyes widened, filled with hope. Perhaps this was Alex's voice. He hurriedly ran towards the fading sounds, but unfortunately, the sound grew more distant with each step. In the dark forest, Leo was alone and lost, but his determination forced him to continue his path. He moved forward and encountered one of the strangest things he had ever seen. On a large rock covered in moss, there was a trembling light shining. Leo climbed onto the rock and examined the light. The light seemed to be coming from underneath the rock. Leo began to dig at the rock with his finger, and he was astonished by what he found. Underneath the rock was his lost brother Alex's journal. Leo opened the journal with trembling hands and started flipping through its pages. Perhaps this journal held clues to Alex's whereabouts. Leo opened Alex's journal with trembling hands and began flipping through its pages. The first pages contained notes about the beautiful moments his brother had experienced in the forest, but the final pages grew increasingly strange and unsettling. The writing on the last page of the journal tightened Leo's heart. It read, "There is something in the depths of the forest. I hear sounds, I see shadows. I'm not alone here, but this thing cannot let me leave." Tears filled Leo's eyes. His brother Alex seemed to have fallen into the clutches of something in the forest. Leo closed the journal with hope of finding his lost brother and put it back in his pocket, then continued on his path deeper into the forest. After hours of searching, Leo stopped in a clearing. A strange light was glowing deep in the forest. He slowly approached the source of the light and came to the edge of a pit. Under the light, his brother Alex stood trembling. Alex had an empty expression in his eyes, as if he were behaving as someone else. Leo approached and called out Alex, but his brother didn't respond. Suddenly, a terrifying entity hidden in the depths of the forest emerged from the shadows of the trees. This entity, as it approached Leo, looked at him with a strange smile. It had a humanoid form, but its eyes gleamed like lightning. Its skin was pale, and its feathers were eerily shedding. Leo recoiled in fear, but his brother Alex remained motionless. As the entity drew closer, Leo's courage grew. "Leave him," he shouted. "Don't touch him." As the entity approached Leo, it smiled and reached out toward Alex. Leo seized his flashlight and shone the light directly into the entity's face. The entity screamed and recoiled, its eyes burning from the light. Leo carried his brother Alex on his back and began to run swiftly out of the forest. The entity tried to follow them with screams, but the light pushed it back. Finally, they left the darkness of Swallow Forest behind. Leo and Alex embraced tightly as they made their way home. They were no longer prisoners of the terrifying entity in the depths of the forest. This was a victory of their struggle for survival and their love for each other. After escaping the darkness of Swallow Forest, Leo and Alex began to walk rapidly towards home. Both of them were deeply shaken by the terrifying experience they had endured, but their love and solidarity kept them strong. When they arrived home, their families welcomed them with great joy. Seeing Alex safe again filled everyone with profound happiness. Leo looked into Alex's eyes and said, "I never wanted to lose you, never." Alex simply nodded and looked at Leo with a grateful smile. The two brothers recounted the terrifying adventure to their families, but never spoke about the mysterious entity. In the depths of the forest, they kept this experience as a secret between the two of them. With time, the horrifying events in Swallow Forest were forgotten, and the forest became a peaceful and beautiful place once more. Leo and Alex realized that this ordeal had brought them even closer. Together, their bond helped them overcome the challenges they faced. The brothers made a promise to always support each other, and they kept that promise. This terrifying adventure they shared in their lives strengthened their bond and bound them in an unbreakable brotherhood. Years passed, and Leo and Alex left their frightening experiences in Swallow Forest behind. Both had grown, and they had charted new paths in their lives. However, the adventure in the forest's depths had been etched into their souls, adding meaning to their lives. As Leo grew older, he developed an interest in natural sciences and worked to protect forests. Alex, on the other hand, possessed a creative spirit and began creating art inspired by the forest. Both of them incorporated their respect for nature and each other into their lives, understanding how Swallow Forest had brought them together and made them stronger. One day, Leo and Alex decided to return to the forest. They no longer wanted to see the forest as a frightening place, but as an area for exploration. The silence and beauty of the forest once again enchanted them. This time, they came to discover the tranquility and peace of the forest, not its mysteries. As they walked through the forest, Leo and Alex began to erase the traces of the terrifying experiences they had in the past. Swallow Forest had been reborn for them. This forest was a turning point in their lives. They both understood how this experience had strengthened them and bound them to each other. As the sun set, Leo and Alex smiled at each other as they ventured beyond the boundaries of the forest. Their bonds of brotherhood had overcome the test of time and adversity. This rebirth in Swallow Forest had added meaning to their lives, cementing their love and commitment to each other forever. While enjoying their time in Swallow Forest, Leo and Alex were enveloped by the beauty and silence of nature. Both were captivated by the magic of the forest, and their connection to each other grew even stronger. One evening, deep in the heart of the forest, they sat in a meadow. The sky was painted with shades of orange and pink. Leo turned to Alex and said, "I'll never forget what this forest has taught us." Alex replied with a smile, "Yes. This forest reminded us how strong we are and how important we are to each other. We should always support each other." Suddenly, the silence of the forest was broken, and the sound of the wind grew louder. They both tensed up. They noticed a shadow approaching rapidly. Their eyes widened, and they retreated in fear. The shadow paused for a moment and then changed shape. They realized they were now in the presence of a familiar entity. It was the guardian of Swallow Forest, the mysterious and terrifying entity. The guardian approached them and looked at them with a meaningful gaze. "It's heartening to see you here," the guardian said. "You have overcome your fears in the depths of the forest and strengthened your bond with each other." As Leo and Alex looked at the guardian with gratitude, Leo spoke up. "The terrifying experiences we had in the depths of the forest only made us stronger and brought us closer together. We will never forget what we've learned from you." The guardian nodded with a smile that conveyed they understood their words. "Eternal brotherhood is the greatest gift of this forest. Now, I am proud of you as the guardians of the forest." After these words, the guardian transformed back into a shadow and disappeared into the depths of the forest. Leo and Alex smiled at each other. They were now a part of the forest, and their bond had been further strengthened by the enchantment of this mystical place. Under the golden-colored sky of Swallow Forest, the two brothers embraced each other with an everlasting brotherhood. No one could ever separate them now, because they were bound together infinitely by their love and solidarity. Inspired by the beauty of Swallow Forest and the teachings of the guardian, Leo and Alex embarked on many adventures together, whether canoeing in the tranquil waters of the forest, climbing to the tops of mountains, or observing the wild creatures of the forest. They were always by each other's side. Each adventure only strengthened their bond and helped them cherish every moment of their lives together. They learned the importance of supporting each other, overcoming challenges together, and savoring the joys of life. Years passed, and Leo and Alex went on to different paths in life, but their bond never wavered. They never forgot the lessons they learned from Swallow Forest and the value of their brotherhood. Eventually, one day, While sitting on a bench at the edge of the forest, watching the sunset, Leo and Alex made a promise to each other that they would continue to savor the endless adventures life had to offer. Their brotherhood was the greatest treasure of their lives, and they would protect this treasure forever. Swallow Forest remained a part of Leo and Alex's lives. An endless adventure and an everlasting brotherhood were the stars that illuminated their future, and they walked together towards a future filled with these stars. And so, they continued to cherish the lessons they learned from Swallow Forest and the unbreakable bond between them as they embraced the boundless adventures that lay ahead.